everybody, welcome back to my channel. We are working on the Stamperia Voyages album, and you all know what it looks like, but I don't, because I would have shown you a preview, but I haven't got very far. So I'm grabbing my pages. Here I have already made the 3 pages because I still don't have a computer, so I apologize if I've been a little absent, and I'm recording this on my phone. But I made 3 pages. I haven't done a lot to them yet, but I want to show you basically how to make them. I'll grab this. Each page requires a 12 by 12 sheet, and you cut and fold them to form this page. And I learned how to do this from Ginger at my sister Scrapper, and I will post a link to her channel. But let me, you know what? I have these already glued, so let me grab something. Hang on. You know what? Here. I'm just gonna make a square of paper and show you how to do this. Hang on. Okay. So, all right, so here's my square. Pretend this is 12 by 12. So you're gonna take your 12 by 12 sheet. All right, this one happens to be 5 1/2. So half of 5 1/2 is 2 3/4, right? So you're gonna score it. In my case, you're gonna score it in half. Okay, so with a 12 by 12 sheet, which is what you're gonna use for this book that we're making, you're gonna score it at 6. So score it in half. You can do this with any size. Score your square in half, turn it 90 degrees, and score it in half again. So you're going to score it at 6, rotate, score it at 6 again. Okay? So you have a crisscross score line. Then you are going to take your scissors, and it's a square, so it doesn't matter which one. You're going to take one of these score lines and cut to the middle, just to where they cross, like that. Okay? Scissors out of the way. Okay. Oh, hang on, my nose is running. I think I've mentioned I live in Florida and things are constantly in bloom. Okay, so now we have our cut. All right, so you want to fold. So we're folding the middle here, like that. Okay, and then you're gonna fold away. So in other words, you have this here, and you don't want to fold to enclose those. You want to fold those so they're on the outside. And again, you're going to be doing this with 12 by 12, although you can do it with any size. So now what you end up with is a little square that has essentially 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, like that. Okay, and then the only problem is it's open here, right? So it's fold on the top, it's open on the bottom. So you have to close that opening. And we're going to close the opening in 2 different ways with our book. And I'm going to show you. Unfortunately, I already made the pages, but it's easy. So you're going to cut a piece. So again, for the actual pages, you're going to use a 6 by 6, and you're going to go to this step the way I just showed you. Then you're going to cut a piece that is 4 by 7. Okay, so this was a single piece, 4 by 7. You're going to fold it in half at the 2-inch line. You're going to score it at 2 inches, and you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here. Then you're going to take and trim. You're going to miter your corners, and then you're going to trim a little V, and I just fold it in half and just snip up to the score line. And when you open it up, you end up with something that looks like this. All right? Then you're going to take your page. Now these already have it on there, but I can still show you how to do it. And you're going to open it up. I haven't glued mine on yet, so let me move this to the side. All right, so here's here's the page like I demonstrated. It's cut here, folded and folded, and now I have this. It's a little hard to see with black. This is open and I want to close it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold the tabs to the inside, and then I'm going to glue it, or use score tape, whatever you prefer, and sort of wrap that opening at the bottom. And then I'll have an opening on the side, I'll have pockets, and the bottom will be enclosed. Again, I learned this technique from Ginger at my sister's scrapper, and it's a great quick way to make pages. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one. Now we're doing 2 styles of pages. We're making a total of 3 pages. So I want you to make 2 in this style. Now if you want to make all 3 in this style, that's fine, but I wanted one page that didn't have the pockets, and I'll show you how to do that. And then you're going to take, I think I'm going to do this, let's see, what's the best way? I always find this awkward. Hang on, I feel like we need more light. How's that? I think I'll do it from the top. Because you want to make sure, pardon me if I get my head in the frame, you want to make sure that you don't cover up the fold line. You want to be able to fold it. And probably I could have adjusted this so that it's not sticking out a little, but I don't really mind that it's sticking out a little. It doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, just readjust your score. Okay, and then now that I've got that side down, I'm going to put a little glue on this side. Make sure you fold your tabs in. And this is just a baby wipe, dry baby wipe that I'm using here. I hear people talking a lot about having trouble finding baby wipes that don't have a lot of lint, and I use these that I get from CVS. Oh jeez, I just gave you the finger, I'm sorry. CVS, and they don't have any lint, or at least they don't seem to have any lint. I like them, and they're cheap, which is always good. Okay, so now we have a page. Let me put the pin back. And, sorry, I'm looking to see what my cat's doing. I have a kitten. I have 2 kittens, actually, but I have one in here helping me right now, and she's making all kinds of noise. Okay, so we have a page. You open it up, it's plain. We'll do something with that. We have our little pocket. We have a side pocket, another pocket, the back, and there, and then this is where we're going to attach it to our spine. All right, so you need 2 like this if you're going to make it just like mine, or you can make 3. We're using a total of 3 pages. So here is the second one that's going to be like that. I'll make in a minute. And then this one, and this one's already got my mats cut. This is the 3rd page, and I wanted a page that did not have pockets, or at least I didn't want a pocket here. So what I did for this one, and I've already done it, but I'll show you what to do. You're going to cut a piece. Let me see. All right, this is 6 inches. You don't need the piece to be a full 6 inches. So say 5 3/4 by 1 inch. All right, so let me grab a piece of paper so I can show you. Hang on. And you can be a little flexible with this. If you've got a scrap or something and it's not quite 1 inch, or it's not quite 5 3/4, now you can, I'm sorry, I lost camera. Go ahead and, you know, score this in half on your scoreboard. Sorry, again, turn around. Oops, well, I didn't do a very good job, but you'll do it neatly, okay? You're gonna line up your edges, score it, burnish it. So now you have this little hinge, right? And let me grab, this one's finished. This is the one we're gonna put the pocket on, but we'll pretend this is the one. You're gonna take this piece, you're gonna glue it on both sides of the fold. Usually what I do is just do one side first. Then you're gonna insert it. Here, I'll open that up. So this is where we want to seal it up. So we're going to take this, can you see? All right, and you're going to put the folded edge right up against the cut edge here, like that. Glue it down, add glue to this side, bring it back down, and close the bottom off. And the reason, now you could just put a little glue there and close it, but then you lose some volume in the side pocket, and I like to put things in my side pockets. So this will give you that volume back, okay? So I'm actually gonna, this one's actually a pocket page, so I'm gonna put that there. And that's the one we did the pocket, losing track. So I don't know if you can see it because it's black, but it's in there, and I glued that little hinge piece in there. Okay, so you want a pocket one like this. You want this one that has no pocket, just a little hinge that you're gonna make. I'll put that there because I already cut some of my mats for that one. And then this one, we need to put the pocket. So let's do that one. That'll give us all 3 of our pages. Now I'm gonna add other things to these pages. And you could make 4 pages if you want. I'm just doing 3 because, whoops, my goodness, I had a big blob of glue just came out of my, oh, I look like my glue, the cover to my glue is not on securely. Hang on, what's going on there? Now, the last time that I refilled my glue, I had the cover on so tight that I couldn't get it off, and I think when I refilled it this time I was worried about that, so I didn't put it tight enough. All right, hopefully that's good enough. All right, and let's see, let's try it this way. Again, you want to be careful that you do not go past your score line either on the side or on the bottom. Okay. Right. And burnish that down. And use your baby wipe, and this is a wet baby wipe, which I should not be using. You should only use a dry baby wipe, but I used my dry baby wipe to clean up that little glue spill. That'll dry in a minute, so it'll be all right. Okay. So now I have all 3 of my pages ready, and let's work on our cover. All right, so again, you're gonna make 3 pages. I think I started talking about why I only did 3 pages. I'm using Stamperia, and I do have 2 of the paper pads, but you know, there's still, I always feel like I have limited paper when I'm dealing with Stamperia, especially if there's no journaling cards, and there aren't any for this collection. So I'm just trying to be conservative with my paper. Plus, this page design gives you a total of 12 pages, you know, by the time you do 1, 2, 3, etc. So I feel like that's plenty. I don't need any more. Alrighty, so you're gonna need chipboard for your covers, and you could use recycle box if you want. This is 6 1/4 by 6 1/2. You need 2 of those, and then the spine is, whoops, how much is the spine? The spine is 1 5/8 by 6 3/8. 6 3/8? I think it's supposed to be 6 3/8. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be 6 1/4. I feel like it's a little long. It's definitely a little long. No, it's supposed to be 6 1/2. It's 6 1/2 up and down and 6 1/4 sideways. Okay. Don't get confused. All right. So now we are going to cover this with our cardstock, and I am using the Artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations in black. And of course you can adjust that, excuse me, of course you can use whatever cardstock you want that matches your particular collection that you're using, but I am using black. So let me get my cardstock out. I'm going to need 2 sheets. Now, one reason that I like to make smaller albums sometimes is you don't have to use 2 sheets to make your covers. However, this album, the size of this album was dictated by one of the designs on the paper. Okay, so it is 6.5 high, and I like 1 inch on either side, so that's add 2 inches. So that's going to be 8.5. So I need to cut 2 of these that are 8.5. And if you actually cut, if you cut your 2 8.5 pieces for to wrap your cover, then you can get your pockets out of that. Your pockets will just be a little bit shorter, up to you. Save yourself a little paper if you want. Alright, so save these pieces. They're nice and big. I'm sure we'll be using them later. Alright, and I'm going to get that out of the way. I had to spare one of those pockets because originally I was going to make 3 pockets, but then I decided I didn't want 3, and you'll see why as we move along. Okay, so now you can use score tape to attach these together, which is what I have often used in the past, but I'm going to use glitter glue, art glitter glue. You can use whatever adhesive you like, very much a matter of personal taste. And usually what I like to do is line up this paper horizontally with one of the marks on my board, and then do the same with this one, just so that they're reasonably straight seam. Okay, just like that. Again, this is a wet baby wipe, which I should not be using. You should be using a dry one. Okay. All right, and it will dry quick, but I still... the art glitter glue dries clear, so it's no big deal. I'm just going to give that a second to dry. And our layout is going to have the spine centered, and then it's 6.5. They still seem like they don't match. I guess they do. 6.5. 6.5. I have a hard time cutting my chipboard, so. Let me just make sure I've got the right one. Yep, 6 1/4 this way. And 6 1/4 that way. Okay. So, and then we're going to have our spine. We're going to have a 1/4 inch in between. And I know I have way more paper, and I could do it this way and have less. That would give me a seam here in the middle of the back. But I just like to center my seam on my spine. It's just me. If you don't care about that, by all means, shift everything to the side, and you'll have a bigger piece that you can cut off. All right. Now I need to decide on my tape, and I think I'm going to use a combination of score tape and Fabri-Tac. Okay, so I'm going to put score tape around the edges, and some people are able to tear their score tape so nicely without any scissors or anything like that, but mine just stretches and becomes a hot mess. So, and I know a lot of people are irritated by taking the time to use scissors, but I'm using scissors. Okay. And I could have used my 1-inch score tape for this, but this was handy, so that's what I'm using. So we're putting tape all around the perimeter of all 3 of these pieces. This is 3/8 inch score tape. And again, you can use whatever adhesive you like. If you'd rather just use liquid glue, or if you've got the nice score tape sheets, those are great for this. But I do not, so this is what I'm using. And I'm gonna apologize in advance because I don't have a computer. I'm gonna have to be doing everything on my iPad, which means I don't have the same video editing software. So you may be forced to sit through some things I otherwise might have edited out because I'm not entirely sure how to use the editing software on my iPad, but I'll get it figured out. But I don't know, this album, I have a feeling this is going to be a really pretty album, and I wanted to do a tutorial for you. I don't know if it's Stamperia, I don't know how you say it. Stamperia is what I usually say, but they're really such pretty papers, and every album I've ever made with them has come out spectacular. Even if you do the most simple things, they look spectacular because the paper is so spectacular. The only thing is, as I've mentioned with them before, it's 1 of each sheet, and so I always buy 2. And if I can get the journaling cards, I can usually get an album made nicely with just 1 set of papers and the journaling cards. But I don't have any. I do have 2 sets of this paper, but we'll see how it goes. I may not have to cut into both. All right, so now let's get our ruler, and we're gonna take the tape off the spine piece. We're gonna start with the spine. And I need to be careful with these. I don't know what it is about cats and this paper that you pull off the double-sided tape, but they love it. My little dandy, who passed away a few months ago, loved this stuff, and I have one of my 2 new kittens also seems to love it, so I'm trying to be careful to keep it out of her reach. All right, so I'm just putting some of my Fabri-Tac, on here. Then I am going to put my ruler here with the 1-inch mark on the seam. The seam is actually just slightly over, so you do not have to be super fussy about getting this dead center. But you do want it straight, if you can, or at least reasonably straight. So use your ruler, get it on there, like so. Okay. All right, now I am going to take my 1-inch, or my work surface is a little bit messy. I need to do a cleanup. I was doing so many things for Christmas and Christmas gifts, and I'm sorry I didn't get most of them, or any of them, I don't think, recorded. And then we had, Country Craft Creations had a New Year's Eve online crop for their Facebook group. which I did, which was a lot of fun. If you're not part of the group, you should join. I have no affiliation with them. I just enjoy the group and I enjoy shopping there. So, I don't know, my workspace is a bit of a mess, and it's not very big, so it gets cluttered. All right, so now I'm going to take, again, my tape, and I keep a big trash can right off camera. I can throw these things away. I still always seem to end up with a whole pile of scraps on the floor that I have to sweep up. But hazards of being a paper crafter, right? Today is New Year's Day that I'm recording this. You won't see it for several days probably, because I probably will record all of the videos for this book and then post them. But I don't know, I was kind of thinking of put that there. Some of my goals for this year, things I want to do. Okay, and one of the things I really would like to try this year, which I have never done, is to make a junk journal. Or I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's a junk journal. I follow a lot of really talented crafters who make them, and I just love them. I love the way they look. I would love to own one. And last year I sort of started collecting some of the stuff to make one. I still don't have enough stuff. Or maybe I do, I don't know. But anyway, so that's one of the things I would like to do this year. I think I might do a crafting goals for the year list for myself. Because sometimes I think of stuff I want to do, or I see people making things and I want to do it, and then I forget about it and I don't do it. And then later on I'm like, oh, I wanted to do that. Why didn't I do that? So it's kind of one of a better New Year's resolution, right? I always like, when I do make New Year's resolutions, I try to make them positive things. Things I want to do instead of, self-improvement and stuff like that, because honestly that's just setting yourself up for failure for the most part. Like one year I had a resolution to see more movies, because I never seemed to take the time to go to the movies. So I did that one year. One year it was go to a concert, or several concerts, and I did that. Or like this, like a craft, things I want to make, or places I want to go, or that kind of things. Positive things. So that's kind of where I'm at right now on this New Year's Day. And, okay, so I've got all three of these pieces down. And I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to brush it from this side. This is my least favorite part of making mini albums. Making the covers. I don't know why. It's just not my favorite thing. All right, now I am going to, you don't have to be like crazy accurate with this. I'm just going to make a line, 1 inch here and 1 inch here. I don't even know if that was on camera, but I'm making an inch. Because I don't have my computer, I can't see what I'm filming very well. But anyway, so I made a line here and here, and I'm going to cut them so that I have a 1 inch border all the way around my cover. cut this on the diagonal. Some people cut out this corner and do it that way, and I never have, and I keep saying I'm going to try that because it seems like a good way, but I'm familiar with this way, so that's what I'm going to do. Just put my pin in my glue, and I'm just eyeballing it. You want to leave here, I'm going to use my bone folder, right here you want to leave a piece, and this is about twice as much space as you need, about equal to the height of your chipboard, but I usually do it and make 2 cuts. I kind of like to sneak up on it, because if you cut off too much, you can't put it back. And if you cut off too much, then you end up not getting a nice miter, and parts of your chipboard show. So take your time, you know, mark it with a ruler if you want. Okay. Now, let's see, I guess I could tape it first. You could have taped it before you did the cuts, but I didn't. I am going to use the 3/8, I think. You could use the 1/4, whatever you've got, or I guess you could use glue, but I really like to use tape for this. Like I said, adhesive is very much a personal choice, but for covers, I really feel like you need to use the double-sided tape. That's just my opinion. All right, so I am going to go all the way around. I'm going to go all the way around my cardstock and the chipboard. If you want, you can go like diagonally across. I don't know if hopefully I'm in camera. You could go this way. Some people do. I've never really felt the need to, but because I usually mat quite close to the edges of my covers on the inside, so I haven't felt the need to have that extra adhesive there. All right, now we are going to go around the perimeter of the chipboard. My scissors are a mess. You can see the tape sticks to them. Supposedly nothing sticks to those Tim Holtz scissors, but I have not found that. I still like them though. And do be careful when you're laying down these fairly sizable lengths of score tape that you are not stretching your tape. Just lay it down, you know, gently. You don't want wrinkles, but you also don't want to be stretching it. Once this score tape is down, or whatever double-sided tape you're using, I like this is score tape. Then you want to burnish it down really well. If you don't burnish it down, it doesn't stick as well, and you'll have a hard time getting the backing off. So just go all around, burnish it all. So there we go. Now, the next step is to wrap the cover. And before we do that, I'm just going to take my scoring tool and run it along the edge of the chipboard, just gently. You don't want to damage your cardstock. This artisan is pretty tough. If you're using something else, you really want to be a little more cautious. Okay. Then I am going to just lift and fold this over without, I haven't taken the backing off the tape. I just want to get this paper sort of trained in the way I want it to go. Careful make sure I don't hit you with it as I'm doing this. Okay, so now I have all 4 sides sort of pre-folded. And I'm actually going to give them a little burnish. If you just take a minute to do this step, things will be easier for you. Okay, now I like to do the long sides first. So I'm going to remove one of the long sides and the 2 short sides that are on the cardstock, or the chipboard, excuse me, and then this long one. Okay, and then I need to, I'm just going to take a pointy tool here because I need to get this one off and this one. Careful you don't poke a hole in your cardstock doing this. Okay. There. All right. Now, I'm going to turn this. I find it easier to do with a turn this way. I like to start with the middle. Okay. And then just lay it down and burnish it. You want a nice, crisp edge. That makes for a good looking cover. Right? I know I've talked about it before. The cover is your first impression on your book, and you want to do a good job with it. Now we're going to do the other long edge. No matter how good the inside of your book is, if you've made a sloppy cover, you've made a bad first impression. And it's hard to come back from that. Now, before you do the ends, see if you can see it. You've got this little piece right here, and you want to, you can either use your finger or your scoring tool. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see it. Just tuck that in, okay? I hope you can see that. And then I'm going to tuck this one in. Okay, so you get a nice corner. Tuck that. Lift this up. Oops, what have I got there? And then just use your bone folder to help you and just get that folded over neatly. Okay, tuck in any little things that you have. Make sure you burnish your corners well. Okay, there we go. And I feel like that corner is not perfect, but it's pretty good out at the edge, and that'll be all right because I'll be matting that. It won't be visible. Okay, do that. I'm going to tuck that end in again. Tuck this one in. I am kind of blind, so trying to do things that are a little bit away from me so you can see them on the camera is difficult. Okay, here we go. All right, that's good. In our corners, make sure everything looks good. And then let me show you this. This is the one I was saying I didn't do that great job on. This is exactly what I was talking about. I cut it a little close to the corner, so I have a little gap there. But that will be hidden because I will be matting. Let me just grab this. I'll be matting well out to that, close to that corner, so that won't be visible. Okay, so now we have our cover wrapped, and we're going to gently just press this down. Remember, we have adhesive in there, so this should grab on. We're just gently going to lift up. Take your time with this, especially if you're using a different cardstock that maybe would tear on you, and just gently ease that up. Right? Okay, and then we're going to do the same here. Just make sure that you really get that down nicely. Use your bone folder. Be careful not to poke your bone folder through the paper. Ask me how I know. Been there, done that. Whoops, that was a firework. It's New Year's. It's like a war zone around here on New Year's. And okay, so there's our cover. Okay, so this is not going to be a huge album. It's not really deep, but I think it's going to be pretty. All right. Now, I am not going to line the two sides of the cover because I'm going to mat them, but I do need to put a piece here to cover that. So I'm going to take one of the pieces that was left over from when we made this, and that's just fine. And I'm going to cut that. This is 6.5 inches tall. So I'm going to cut it 6 3. No, because my pages are 6. So I'm going to cut it 6. That way I can line up the pages with the spine piece. And the spine with the spine piece. So I'm going to cut that 6. And I use a Fiskars Precision paper trimmer. And for whatever reason, the fold falls right at the 6 on that trimmer, so it's hard to cut a 6. And I just took a Sharpie and marked the 6 on mine to make it easier for me to cut 6 inches. All right, so I'm gonna use score tape on this. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna do the whole perimeter of the spine piece, just like I did with the chipboard. And then I'm also going to put some on here. So let's do our piece. Okay. And I am doing 3/8 inch spacing on my spine. So that should give us, we should have plenty of room. I don't anticipate adding a lot of really bulky embellishments to this album. If you think you're going to on yours, or you want to on yours, you can make a wider spine and add 1/2 inch between your gussets, or 1/2 inch gussets between your fins. Okay, so we're gonna do that. And then we're going to add some tape on either side. Be careful you don't go all the way down because you don't want this tape to stick out from under this piece. But just a little bit here and here. Just like that. And here. This piece that we're going in, it seems like, you know, an inconsequential piece that covers the spine, but your actual binding glues to this piece. If this piece were to come out, your whole book would fall apart. So this is not the place to skimp on your adhesive. All right. Plenty of adhesive there, and then I'm going to put some Fabri-Tac in that open space. All right, so let's lift off all of this tape backing. Sounds like the fireworks have stopped. That's good. There must have been a few left over from somebody's party last night. I love fireworks. you know, the pretty ones. Firecrackers, I don't get it. I don't see the point of just bangs. But for some reason, fireworks on New Year's just drive me crazy. Maybe because I don't celebrate really New Year's. It's not a big deal for me. It never has been. I stay home, have a quiet evening. But here in the South, fireworks are like a big deal on New Year's. Okay, so just center this as best you can. It's not a huge deal side to side so much as top to bottom, because it's going to dictate your pages being centered. Here, this is going to be covered. You can see that's kind of not even very neat. This is all going to be covered with matting, so that's no big deal, but you want equidistance top to bottom, okay? And then burnish that really, really well, okay? Make sure it's really stuck down. Okay. And then we're going to repeat again, gently, gently. This is where it's easy to stick your bone folder right through the paper, so just be careful, okay? I have done it, and it's not fun, especially since I don't like making covers, so having to redo that piece is not something I like. I'm gonna be very gentle here because now you've got that extra layer. It's a little harder to get it to bend. And again, you're gently, gently just push it down into that glue that's in there. Remember, you've got a piece of score tape in there that it can adhere to. So gently, gently. Here we go. And then we're going to do the same here. Okay. There we go. All right, there's our cover. Wiggle it back and forth gently. Okay. Looks good. Everything looks good. Okay, make sure it lays flat. Can you bend it slightly the other way? Just being, again, be very cautious if you are not using a high quality cardstock, because this is, you don't want it to split. You really don't want it to split. Okay. Okay, there is our cover. And I'm always glad when the cover's done because I don't like making covers. Alrighty, so now let's talk about our spine. Let me set this aside. Alright, I'm going to grab this little page that we need, or maybe, hang on, let me just, what have I got? I just need a piece of scrap paper. Here we go, this one's got glue all over it. It'll work. Alright, now, let me show you. I hope this is big enough for you to see. You know what, maybe it's not. What have I got? Let me get something bigger so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. There we go, big piece of paper. I can write on this because I can use it later and erase it. So we need to make our spine. Our pages are 6 inches tall. I'm going to show you how to figure out how to do a spine, okay? So our pages are 6 inches tall. All right, so our spine, because these are going to go onto the spine, I like to make it just a hair smaller, okay? So we can make our spine, say, 5 7/8 inches tall. So that's easy enough, right? So we want to make it 5 7/8 tall, okay? But how wide do you make it? Well, here's how we figure it out. We know we're going to do 3/8 of an inch in between. So we could do 3/8. Then we're going to do, this is going to be a fold, right? So it's a 1/2 inch up and a 1/2 inch down, right? So that's actually an inch. So there's one. Then we're going to do 3/8. And then we're going to do another hinge, which we know is an inch. 1/2 inch up, 1/2 inch down. 3/8. Obviously, this is not to scale. 1 inch. And then 3/8. Now, these two 3/8 inch pieces can be however wide you want them. You can make them wider to cover over your spine, and we'll figure that out. But this is the minimum that you need for 3 pages. Okay, so that's easy. You got 1, 2, 3, that's 3 inches, right? That's 1 inch here, so ½ inch up, ½ inch down, ½ inch up, ½ inch down, ½ inch, ½ inch. So that's 3 inches. Now you've got 3/8, and if you remember your math, that is going to be 3, 6, 9, 12/8, right? 12/8. Now 8/8 is 1, right? So you've got 1 and 4/8. Well, 4/8 is half, right? Is ½ an inch. That's 2 4s is 8, right? So this is 1 1/2 inch for these 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense for you? If it's easier, you could do 3/8 and 3/8 is 6/8. So that's 6/8 here. That's 3/4 of an inch. And 6/8 here is 3/4. 3/4 and 3/4 is 1 1/2. So I need 3 inches for these, and then I need 1 1/2 inches for these. Right? So that's 4 1/2 inches. So I need my spine to be 4 1/2 inches. The finished spine, when these are folded up and everything's like these are up, all you're going to have is these. That's 1 1/2. So where's our book? What did I do with it? I set it aside. I did not move from my chair. What did I do with it? I'm losing my mind. Hang on. Oh, here it is. It's black. I couldn't see. Okay, so our finished spine that we made is actually about 1 3/4 inches. Okay, well, this is only 1 1/2. So you have a choice. You can go ahead and make it 1 1/2, and the entire spine will sit here with nothing overhanging. That's good if you think you're ever going to need to take the spine off, like if something goes wrong, you need to repair it. If that spine is limited to here, then it's easier to take off. For strength, though, it's not a bad idea to go over and then have your papers, your matting papers and whatever, cover that seam. It does add extra bulk here, and it does add extra bulk here. So it's up to you how you want to do yours. I'm going to leave mine so that it only sits on the spine. It doesn't cross, right? So I'm just going to go with this 4 1/2 inches that we just measured. If you want yours longer, you know, again, you can decide this, instead of 3/8 here, you can make it, you know, 5/8 or 6/8 or whatever you want, to give yourself a little extra on each end. Okay, so I need a piece that is 5 7/8 by 4 1/2. Okay, so let's cut that. Again, because I'm using the Fiskars Precision, I am having to kind of guess at the 5 7/8 because it doesn't show up on my cutting surface. All right, so here we go. Now, where's our little guide that we made? Here's our little guide. So this also gives you your scoring, right? So you're going to score 3/8. Then you're going to score a 1/2 inch from that, okay? So that's going to be 4/8 from there. So that's 7/8. I'm going to do 7/8. And then you're going to go to 3/8 because that's another 1/2 inch. Now you want to do 3/8. So that is 1 3/4. Now we need to go to 2 1/4 and 2 3/4. That's our second fin. I call them fins. I don't know if there's an official name for these things, but I call them fins. Okay, now we need to leave 3/8. So that's 3 1/8. And Now we need to go 3 5/8. And sorry, I just heard a thud. I have kittens. You never know what they're doing. 3, 7, and then 4 1/8. All right. So we have 3/8, ½ inch, 3/8, ½ inch, ½ inch, 3/8, ½ inch, ½ inch, 3/8. So that is 3/8, 7/8, 1 3/8, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 1/8, 3 5/8, 4 1/8. Okay, that is our spine. Obviously, you know, you can use that method for whatever size spine you want to make. Okay, so the way we need to do this is you need to fold this so that your ½ inch the ½ inch scored sections stick up, just like I'm showing you there, like a mountain. All right, this probably looked very awkward. So you can see this one's flat, and this one's sticking up. See that? Flat, flat, sticking up. Okay, so then we want to do the next one sticking up. And I want to burnish all of this really well. That's one, there's 2, and then I'll do our last one, up and down and up again. Alright, and this one is flat. Okay, so see that we have our 3 pieces. All right, so inside each of them, if you flip it over, so you got your peaks up, turn it over, and you want to put a piece of score tape or glue in between each of our little ditches there to make them stick together. All right, and I have some score tape right here, so I think I'm just going to use that. You could use wet glue, whatever's handy for you. I'm using 1/4 inch here. And you just want to put it on one side of each of these ditches. Okay. Burnish it, take the tape off, the back of the tape off I should say, and pinch it together. Alright, and then give each of those a little burnish. Just like that. Now we have a spine, and go ahead and, or this is our binding I should say, and burnish these really well in both directions. The more you burnish them and break down those fibers, the easier your pages will flip. Okay, just play with them a little bit, get them the way you, going the way you want, and then you're going to take the back and you're going to put adhesive on the whole back. All right, and I have, I believe, some 1 inch, we are 1 inch score tape, which is going to make this a bit easier, right? So I am going to, again, please excuse if my head gets in the frame because I am blind. I need to get my head over there a little bit. I did not put that on straight at all. You'll do better because you'll be able to see. Okay, let me just bring that up. Okay, that's fine. What I'm going to do is put a little extra glue on these probably. Oh, wait a minute, I've got 3/8. You want to make sure the back is covered. Right, hang on, I'm just going to pull this up where I can see it. I'm sorry. It is really hard to see the black. Okay, so then burn it. You're going to do a better job, right? So what I'm going to do is take this backing off, and then I'm just going to add a little extra tape, which you will not have to do because you will have done a better job getting the glue down in the first place. And you can use wet glue for this if you prefer. It's fine. Whatever you like. I like to use score tape for this. One reason I like to use score tape for this is if, by some chance, I need to get the spine up. With score tape, I can use undo and get the spine off. If once you use like art glitter glue, you are never getting the spine off. And there's advantages to that. I mentioned you need a strong spine, or a strong binding. But I do like to leave myself the possibility that I might make a mistake and I might need to get this off. Or there might be damage to the book where I need to get it off. All right. There's that. Now, we're going to take our book and we're going to glue this centered onto our spine. And again, I am going to get my head probably in the frame, I'm sorry. I think that's fairly straight. Okay. Just burnish this super well. And again, burnish those pages, those fins, both directions. Really, really stuck down and flexible, going in both directions. Here we go. Now, we have our 3 pages. We're going to do, the way I'm going to do this, and we made these a little small, so you may not need to, sometimes I'll cut these at an angle, but since I made them a little small, I think you'll be all right. So on dry fit, I'm going to do a pocket page. Then I'm going to do the page that doesn't have the pocket in the middle, and then I'm going to do the last one, a pocket page. So what we need to do, and you can decide if you're going to use tape or you're going to use art glitter glue to hold these on. And I think I'm going to use tape. And if you are going to use tape, you could have done this, I probably should have, before I attached the spine into the book. But you just want to take a piece of tape and you want to run it towards the top, like up near the fold. You don't want to put it down into the score area too much because you don't want it to show. You're going to leave these pages up slightly when you put them in, just to add to the flexibility of the spine. So just put it in up towards that fold, all right? And again, if you decide you want to, you can go ahead and taper the corners slightly. And I may still yet do it, but I think I left myself enough room that I don't need to. I have got so many lights, and yet I still seem to end up with shadows in places that I have a hard time seeing. I think I need to maybe reposition some lights or something. Okay, there's that. And one last one. Okay, there we go. This tape out of the way. Oops. And burnish the tape. And I usually like to start, let me see, there's no top or bottom. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But if you feel like one of your corners is a little wonky or something, you want to hide it, decide now. All right, so make sure you've got your pocket at the bottom. Do a dry fit. That's good. I think that's all right. And I'm just going to take one piece of the tape off. You know what? I know I don't have to trim these, but I'm just going to taper this corner just a hair, just to make my life a tiny bit easier. You don't have to, and I probably don't have to, but I'm going to. Here we go. Okay. All right, double check again that my pocket is at the bottom. Slide this on. And then I like to leave, I don't know, a good 1/16 of an inch at the bottom. Or, like, don't push it all the way down. Because if you do, your pages are not going to turn nicely. Okay? So just make sure everything is burnished well. Flip it this way. And get a pointy tool of some kind. Reach in there and pull out the tape backing. And then I like to lift the page up before I press it down. Okay, so now we have that page in. You can see it turns nicely. Okay. All right, now we're going to do this middle one. And I have some. Now you can fully decorate all your pages before you put them in. Lots of people like to do that. I find it easier to put them in first when I don't have all the bulk of the decoration on them. And again, you want to stop a good 1/16 of an inch from the bottom. Make sure it's lined up with the previous page. And then press. Okay. All right. Fold it over. Take your pointy tool. Get that. This is I don't know what this is. These are from EK Tools, EK Success, something like that. Got them ages ago at I think Joann's. They come as a set of 3. Okay, so there's the page. That's the middle page. We have special plans for that page. Okay, and now we have the first page. Got to be careful, this one's got a pocket. I got a little glue on it, but that'll be covered. Make sure your pocket's at the bottom. Okay. tape. Slide the page on, stopping a good 1/16 of an inch. Make sure it's lined up well with the previous pages. Okay, and again, remove that tape from this side. This one's being stubborn. Come on. There we go. All right, lift up and press. Okay, we have all of our pages into our book. See that? We have a lot of pages, plenty of room in between. Okay, so let's take a quick look and then we'll end for today, and we'll come back and we'll start decorating and adding additional pockets and flaps and all that stuff. So you open your book, we'll do something here. We have a page with a pocket, another page with a pocket, and a page. And then this page has no pocket here. This one's solid. So we have 4 solid pages, which we have all kinds of things we're gonna do. And then, sorry, my cat just jumped in the window, so I jumped a mile. Go to plain, pocket, pocket, plain, plain, and then we'll do something to the back. All right? So there we go. And I don't think I showed you the paper that I'm using. Hang on, let me see if I've got it handy. I can pull it over here. Okay, I've already got it open. It's this one. It's called Voyages Fantastique from Stamperia. It's beautiful, and here I've already got it open. Isn't it gorgeous? You'll see more of it as we work, but love it. Look at those cut aparts. Look at these clocks. It's awesome. There's the cover. There's the cover. And what's really nice with these new Stamperia papers, this is the cover. The covers on the Stamperia papers are the same weight as the paper, and they're not shiny, so you can always use the covers. So, and I always do. But now they've put printed paper, pattern paper on the inside of the front and back covers, so you can use them either way. It's great. All right. So that's the paper that we're using. And next time we're going to be working with pattern paper. We're going to be adding more pockets. And generally just having a good time. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any more videos of my new videos when I post them. Sorry, that was really awkward. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.